I think what can make this process more successful, or more or less successful to an extent, is to, when you do this stage of use case analysis right here, right? So you're doing your use case analysis. So right here at this stage of your use case analysis, I think that what really helps is to stay neutral to any sort of programming language, any kind of very specific database structure, that you really try to capture the rules, the steps, very precisely, the steps of the business, right? You're also trying to use the language of objects, right? Because you know that objects will come with important attributes, important behaviors. You already know they will be very, very helpful. You're trying to discover them. Some of them are obvious. But what you need to do during this use case analysis, when you're writing your functional spec, which is the collection of all use cases, is that you really try to stay neutral off of any specific programming language. Almost like you really don't care what programming languages, what operating systems, platforms, environments, infrastructures will be used. You can try documenting some of the non-functional requirements, such as security needs, the disk space, whatever, right? Because different systems will have different needs. However, you really stay neutral of any type of implementation, and you put some trust in your people who will do the programming, right? Because you will you will rely on their professionalism, that they will be interpreting your use case analysis document, which is language neutral, programming language neutral. It really doesn't go into details of SQL or Java or C++ or C or HTML, right? That you're just trying to express the ideas for using the terminology of the business that you're trying to do. Another interesting aspect of this use case analysis, which we've been discussing and rotating about for quite a while, that this process going from, you don't write business requirement document. It's like the expert users, the stockholders, people who want the system will contribute to that document. However, transitioning from their view of the system to your own representation, which is this set of use cases, this is like an investigation, right? This is pretty much the investigation of what needs to be done. You're acting as a detective, right? You're trying to understand and get to the bottom of all the secrets, all the important things, things that are obvious and things that are not so obvious. And again, remember, I kind of touched on the idea, how do you make this use case analysis, which you have to do before you start the programming, simply because of this complexity of stuff that you're dealing with. Just remember, there's a bit of a red flag, right, related to this investigation stage, that you cannot endlessly go back to your users, contributors of this information and expect them to provide you with answers and descriptions and explanations forever. You have a very limited time because they're usually very busy people. You can allocate some time for interviews and meetings with them, but at some point you begin to realize that you need to know that there will be a cutoff, right? There may be a few, meetings at some points, few conferences and so forth with them, but it's not like any minute you can get up off of your chair, walk over to their office and say, hey, I want to ask you another question. So it comes with some discipline, right? So it comes with understanding that, you need to use this time with them effectively, but at some point you're now taking over this responsibility of, like, formalizing it and completing your functional spec, and the functional spec and all of the use cases described fully become your final your final stage, at which you will then be okay to move on to a programming stage and really start after some design pattern analysis, of course, as I said. But perhaps you're anxious to get to the programming stage.